Hello all sentient beings and welcome to the TransMissions podcast where we talk all Hasbro, Takara, and third party Transformers! On this episode of TransMissions, we are joined by Dr. Pants as we discuss possible Studio Series 86 movie figures that might be coming. Official images and video of Masterpiece Movie Ratchet have been revealed, and Studio Cell's Unicron is looking really good. Today is Wednesday, June 10th, 2020, and this is episode 385 of TransMissions.
Welcome to TransMissions, the podcast that really doesn't care about how the economy's doing right now. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent and complete TransMissions team. Yusuf, better known as Yoshi.
Yo. Oh, fuck, my yodel's broken.
Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
Great, how are you?
I'm just fine.
Excellent.
Scott, the illustrious Dr. Pants.
Hello, everyone.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
How's everyone this weekend? I'm good. Let's talk Transformers.
All right, well, the show's going up Wednesday, so it's not the weekend anymore, but that's okay.
I have no concept of days anymore.
It's always the weekend, right?
It's always some point in time during the weekend, yes.
No, it's always a Monday. This entire year has been a Monday.
At this point, I've lost track of what month it is.
Yeah. Well, some places are opening up, but I think it's still wise to practice caution and continue practicing social distancing, even if your state or locality says you can go out. But hang in there, everyone.
Is that your medical advice?
Yeah, trust me, I'm a doctor. Don't trust me.
You can get sued for that shit, Charles.
But by repeating the advice that everyone else is giving.
But it's coming from a doctor that's not really a doctor, so he's a prime target.
Oh, yeah.
Listen to Dr. Fauci. That's my advice. All right. As always, we start the show by thanking our donatrons, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal. Thanks to everyone who continue to support us. It helps us keep the show going. And, we appreciate everyone chipping in. If you would like to join the ranks of our donatrons, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support and you'll find links to sign up on Patreon or PayPal.
You're not selling it. You need look, if you guys want me on the show more, you got to throw more money at us. Let's do that. That'll work.
Is that really going to happen?
Yeah. It's also a lot shorter of an advertisement than yours.
Well, you can also support the show by buying some merchandise from our TeePublic store. That's at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. We've got lots of shirt designs, masks, other merchandise, all with Transmissions logos on them. You can also help out our friend K-Girl at her store. That's at tpublic.com/user/superstark. She also does some awesome designs. She's done a lot of artwork for us. And so we appreciate all the work she's done. You can also check out our Transformers RPG podcast, Empire of Rust. That's done by our awesome producer and editor, Mike Ordway, and his team of Transformers RPG players. They have a milestone this week with episode 25. So it's almost a year since we launched Empire of Rust. And they've built up a lot of episodes. So this episode is What Does the Turbofox Say? And it should already be out in your podcast feed, in your Transmissions podcast feed. It came out on Monday, so you should already have access to it. If you don't, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/rust, and you'll find all the episodes there. And the last bit of info before we get into the toy talk. Jeremy and Daryl did an awesome interview with Matt Moylan, a longtime Transformers artist, known as the Lil Formers guy. And we've seen him a lot of TF cons over the years. He's a pretty regular fixture there. And he has a lot of experience since he worked way back in the day in Dreamwave. He was at Ground Zero in Dreamwave. So you guys talked about his experiences there and all his work there. So Jeremy, how did the interview go? What did you guys talk about?
A lot of what you said. We talked about the early Dreamwave days. He had actually given us some corrections or some feedback on some of the issues we did. We talked about that, and then also just some of the comic industry stuff that's going on right now. I thought it was pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. He's currently the director of publishing at Udon Entertainment.
Cool. Yeah. So that interview should already be up in your feed. It's an alt mode special episode, and we released it on Tuesday, so you should already have access to it. And if not, just go to Transmissions alt mode, and transmissions.com, and alt mode is where it lives. So check it out. Or
you can check our YouTube channel because we got a video of it too.
Yes, that's right. So we'll link to the video and the audio podcast too. So. Yeah, Jeremy's been firing on all cylinders with the YouTube videos. So please send an encouraging note to Jeremy and appreciate all the work he does.
If you'd like to see the pictures of what we're talking about, the last few episodes, I've put images up as we were talking, and then you see the Trips to the Store video just edited into the same thing. So
yeah,
I don't know, just experimenting to see if people like it.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, if that's kind of the stuff you want to see, let us know and give us some feedback. All right, let's talk about some toys.
All right, first up this week, we got that reveal of what the next Masterpiece movie character is going to be, and I was right. I took a stab in the dark at guessing movie Masterpiece Ratchet, and I guessed right. So look at that. We just kind of kind of speculated on what the character was going to be last show, and yeah, here it is, movie Masterpiece Ratchet. It's coming out. There's no real date on it yet, but they did a really cool stop motion video for it. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a movie character. It looks pretty good. So far, the reaction to it has been pretty positive. I have seen a lot of people talking online about, yellow Transformer figures or, light green, whatever color this guy's going to be. They all tend to have the same kind of issues when it comes to paint. It doesn't just have to do with Masterpiece guys. It actually does go down to all the other waves of figures. They can't get the paint to be the same color when they paint on different surfaces. So if you're painting on like a clear surface, like the windows and the doors and stuff like that require the translucent material, they can't seem to match that to a solid colored piece of plastic. That does seem to be a bit of a problem on this figure as well. You can see in some of the promotional pictures that the top half of the doors on this figure are made of translucent plastic for the windows, and the yellow on it looks a bit green. Yeah, it's kind of vomity. It doesn't look right, and people have pointed that out, saying, why can't we get it to match? It's the different types of plastic, That's really the short answer for it. Yeah, I don't know. But a lot of people are still pretty, pumped about this. Movie Masterpiece Ratchet is a character that did not have a Masterpiece figure going in yet. And I guess the biggest one was the leader class figure from the first movie was probably the one that was going so far. But he's had a bunch of figures going, up until this point. But this is, obviously Masterpiece quality, so it's going to look a little better. And yeah. From what I can tell, the fandom that's into these guys is still pretty positive. So let's kind of go around here, and we'll start with Dr. Pants. What are your thoughts on movie Masterpiece Ratchet here?
I'm really happy for everyone who's collecting these. This is the last Autobot from the 07 movie they needed, right?
I think so, yes. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really into the movie designs that much, especially the first movie. I think the only one I really liked was Blackout. But, I mean, this looks cool. My only problem is, and I know it's accurate, that the color bothers me. Like that bright yellow, because I keep trying to look at it like a Masterpiece figure, but to me it looks very much like just a Studio Series or normal toy. It doesn't quite look like a Masterpiece figure to me. But, again, the movie's designs aren't my thing, and I know it's accurate, but... And my other problem is And again, it's probably accurate, but the fingers all being the same color with the hand, it looks cheap, I guess. It's nitpicky. This isn't for me, and I'm really, really glad for everybody who's collecting these that they're getting it, but it's not my thing.
Do they have different colored fingers? I mean, I'm looking at my hand, their fingers are the same color.
Well, normally it seems like on some of these they do some kind of lining in between the joints, or there's some kind of like changing color between the joints.
Okay.
But
so you're not talking like each finger is different. You're talking about just sections of it.
Yeah, sections of it. That's what I mean. Is like the fingers it's like every bit of the finger in the hand is all the same color, and it's hard to distinguish where the differences in the joints are.
Okay.
And it doesn't look quite right. I kind of want some detail in there to distinguish it, but again, it's probably perfectly accurate to the movie, and I'm not into it. Not into it.
Cool. Let's go to Yoshi. We haven't heard from you in a bit. Yoshi, I'm a Canadian. There's ambulances here in Canada that look nothing like this. Is this an American ambulance? Does this look like an American ambulance? What am I looking at here?
You're looking at a travesty, an absolute abomination. I'm sure there are yellow ambulances. I wouldn't be shocked to see one on the road, but there's none in my community. The thing that is kind of embarrassing about this is the alt mode and the fact that so much of the bot itself hangs beneath the undercarriage. I don't know. I mean, it just seems like a half-assed effort. I mean, plastic tires, it doesn't half the robot hanging underneath the car. This isn't Masterpiece level work. This is Studio Series 1.0 at best. It's pretty. Mm-hmm. I mean, as somebody who, I get it if you're a fan of this and you want to collect all of these, but man, if this thing was sitting on my shelf in alt mode, I'd be pretty annoyed.
Right. And I mean, you can definitely see by looking at the alt mode pictures here, you can definitely see the change in the color of the side of the vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. I know that's the primary focus, and you brought it out, but there's other things that are wrong with it too. I mean, for a Masterpiece figure, it's really fell below the bar they set for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I guess I should correct myself. He's not an ambulance. He's a fire department search and rescue unit. So I guess he's accurate. I don't have any of these types of vehicles in my area, but I mean, that's a new movie design. I guess it was the 2007 movie was sponsored by GM, so that was something that they had to kind of come up with.
The reason you don't see these vehicles in your area, Daryl, is because your government's spending so much money on hover tanks. We
have a lot of hover tanks. They have a cloaking technology. I don't even see them.
Nice.
They're pretty cool.
Peace through tyranny.
That's right. Charles, you have an affinity for safety vehicles. I understand. This is. I mean,
is this the running joke? Like you always, every time you throw to me, you open with some random opinion that you assume I have.
I have a source that tells me that your doctorness is connected to safety, health and safety, and especially fire prevention. And Ratchet being a fire prevention vehicle is just something that is, you have this weird collection of Ratchets, and I think this is right up your alley. Are you getting this Masterpiece Movie Ratchet?
No, not at all. No, I mean, I agree with Yoshi and Dr. Pants. This is not for me. I'm not a fan of the movie aesthetic in general, and Ratchet in particular is not, a character that I'm interested in. The other thing, I mean, we didn't mention this, but the price, you can order it. It's a Target exclusive in the US. Okay. And you can pre-order it for $120. I mean, yikes.
Honestly, that's not bad.
Yeah, no, I agree.
With the most recent Masterpiece stuff they've been putting out, $120 is pretty good.
This is true.
All right, fair enough. But it's more than I'm willing to pay for movie-based, live-action movie-based figures. So
okay,
it's going to be a pass for me.
All right.
It is cool they're in Target, though.
Yeah, I agree. And Jeremy, to you, I should ask, I mean, Charles is really against this, and should we kind of pool our money and get this for him as a token of thanks for his, to his ever growing Ratchet collection?
Yeah, I think we should.
We should.
You can find better ways to spend the transmissions money.
I think this will be the Christmas present from everybody.
That's a good idea.
Or maybe we can each buy one for him, and
oh wow, so have his own little.
Someone can just give him an actual Ratchet too.
Oh wow. Well, I'll save that for his wife. She can buy a real run. He'll have his own little Ratchet armada. It'd be cool. What are your thoughts on the figure, though, Jeremy?
I mean, I agree with a lot of the things that everyone's mentioned. Like the amount of bot mode that's hanging under the truck is just it's a lot, especially for such a big truck. You would have thought that there would be a way for them to hide all that inside.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you look through the windows and you can see so much stuff kind of squeezed in there.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that they would have also not made the windows clear, because I hate it when you can see all that stuff in there.
Yeah.
I'd rather see it through the windshield than underneath the car.
Well, yeah, that too. But, if they hadn't made the windows clear and it was just painted on, that would also fix the different types of plastic too, because you could just not have clear plastic.
Yeah.
There. I understand it's a Masterpiece figure. They're wanting to go for higher quality, but I don't know, just between the paint and the pieces hanging under, it's just not up to the same level, like Yoshi said.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do like some little details, like you have the shovels and the tools on the side. I'm guessing those are molded and don't come off, but for a search and rescue vehicle, nice little detail to add.
Yeah, it does appear to be molded there.
I like the different attachments for his arm, the saw blades and stuff like that. I think it's pretty neat how they've added that gimmick to it. And if you're a fan of the Studio Series stuff, I think probably going to be more happy than not with this figure. It's just got a lot of things that you're going to have to overlook, though.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to move on to another quick topic. And this one is just, it kind of exploded with images this week. And I just felt that we had to talk about it, because when you get a dump of images like this, you really just have to just mention it. And I found it kind of interesting that TFW 2005, the site, didn't mention it at all. And so that was kind of interesting. But we got a whole bunch of images of 01 Studio Cell. So that's the old name, or the new name for that Zeta Toys ZV-02 Star Core, or the Unicron figure. And that is coming out soon, guys. This thing is scheduled for early August, and I'm seeing pictures like crazy. I'm seeing packaging shots. We've got 3 image galleries and a video, which I have no idea what's being said, but there is a size comparison in it, which I thought was really interesting. So there's a ton of really cool pictures, and it's an unbelievable amount of information. But the one thing that caught me out of all of this was during the video, obviously you get the size comparison, and the person doing it uses, I believe it's the new Studio Series Sentinel Prime, and I can't remember his size class, but I believe he's leader class.
Voyager.
He's a Voyager? Okay, he's a Voyager class. Okay, so still, this Unicron towers over him, which you should expect. But the part that got me is the head is removable, as we know, because all the pictures leading up to this was headless. But he takes the head off, and he's showing it very closely. There's a battery compartment in the back, which we already knew, but there are 2 buttons on the head. And it got me thinking, okay, well, one, obviously the eyes. The eyes are a light up gimmick, right? That's obvious. That's going to be something for that. But what's the second button? And I've started thinking, what, a voice clip? Maybe a voice clip in this thing. There's no confirmation of it. The guy didn't put any batteries in it to show us what it did. But Yeah. What about a voice clip? Wouldn't this be cool if it had a voice clip in it? I don't know. That's just me kind of spitballing an idea, but my head kind of exploded with, excitement about the fact that there could be a Unicron figure coming out there with Orson Welles' voice in it. But yeah, so let's go around and we'll talk about this a bit. I don't think we've talked to Dr. Pants about this. What are your thoughts on this Cell figure from 01 Studios?
I have been so pumped for this since it was Zeta, before it got taken down. I was really, really upset when it suddenly disappeared, because the Hasbro one, while it looks really, really cool, I couldn't bring myself to throw that much money at it. But this one, a little bit cheaper, and I love the way it looks. I'm so in love with the 86 movie. I've always wanted a nice looking Unicron, and the only one I've ever been able to get is that Armada one, because it's the only one that's ever been available.
Right, yeah.
And this looks so much better than that, and I would love to have this in my collection. So I'm hoping at some point I can get it if I can convince the wife that it's a reasonable purchase.
And you talk about the purchase of this thing. When we first saw pre-orders for this thing go up, it was up for $299 or something like that on ShowZed's store, was the site that I saw it on, and it ended up on a bunch of other sites too. That was the site that it was on, and I thought, yeah, that's a pretty reasonable price for this thing, $300. That's not bad, and obviously it's in US dollars. As these images started coming out, I was like, well, let's go take a look at this site again, and it's now $400 or $399.99. I'm like, that's a big jump. That's $100 jump. What the hell happened here? And it's in line with all the other sites that are selling it, like TF Source and I believe Chosen Prime selling it too. Big Bad Toy Store is not selling this thing. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, so I'm looking into it, and I did a little bit more research, and actually a representative from the ShowZ store site is answering questions for people on the TFW boards. So somebody had asked him what about the pricing increase, and they answered saying the $100 increase is due to the fact that they had some pre-order stock available, and once those were depleted, they had to now acquire stock from other vendors, and that other vendors are causing them to actually raise the prices of their pre-orders. So if you're actually pre-ordering it from them for $100 more, then that's why, because they are now having to acquire it from somewhere else. So there you go.
I appreciate you telling me that, but that unfortunately means it might have just gotten out of my reach, because I don't know that I could sell it that well as a reasonable purchase.
It's a spicy meatball. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a sexy meatball. That's a weird sentence. I'm sorry.
Yoshi, what are your thoughts on this Unicron, man? I think we've talked to you about it before, but it's been a while. So, throw me some opinions.
In spite of litigation from Hasbro, and in spite of a worldwide pandemic, these guys are still coming out before the official Hasbro release. There's a lot to applaud here, Daryl. There's a whole lot to applaud here. They're pulling off shit that the big boy can't do. There's things I like about this one, and there are things I like about the Hasbro one. And I personally don't feel like you can make a mistake with either one.
Okay.
I know that there's a part of me in a parallel dimension that makes more money who's like, I'll just get them both. But that's not this dimension. I do like this one. This is probably the one I would buy if I could buy one, if I wanted to buy one. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting here scrutinizing of it, and all I'm seeing are the differences, and I like the differences. I like the differences in the Hasbro one, but I like on his shoulders. I mean, it just looks like a little city is sitting on his shoulders. I mean, I just love that attention to detail. I hope you're right, and I hope when you hit that button on the back of the head, it says something like, I have summoned you here for a purpose. No, it would be epic.
Wouldn't that be cool?
It would be cool. It would also be cool if it lit up like a fucking nightlight for nighttime. But
that's true.
I'll take a voice chip. We haven't had that gimmick in forever. I mean, we need to bring that back hard. He looks very bendable. I like the photoshoppery magic they do with the cool action shots. I don't know. I don't care for the plastic orange stand dome thing. But I mean, Jesus Christ, that's just me looking for something to complain about. It's gorgeous. Put me down for one.
Well, Charles, I know you like this because you bought the official one. But this is cheaper, and it's got insane packaging. Did you see the pictures of the packaging? They're crazy.
Oh yeah.
Nobody will guess what this is by looking at the packaging. For all those looking at the links, it's the third link, images 3. It's just has these crazy packaging.
Yeah, it's like phagocyte. I believe that's a white blood cell, and I think because I guess when you replace the head with the little unit, the planet Maw, he looks like a white blood cell or something. Like, I don't know.
Wow, that's your doctor knowledge coming out here. I didn't know that.
I'm speculating, but yeah, I mean, I mean, when we talked about this before, I've said that I definitely think this robot mode is better than the official Hasbro one, but I think the official Hasbro planet mode is better. Specifically, the planet mode's mouth looks more like the movie Unicron than this one.
Right.
But this guy in robot mode definitely looks like the animation model come to life. And the light up gimmick for the eyes is great. It would be great to have a voice chip. I wonder if they would sample the Japanese voice actor instead of Orson Welles, or both. I don't know. I mean, I'd be curious to see what they do there. But yeah, I mean, this is a good figure. I think though the price making it the price differential closer to the Hasbro one, then I think makes it a little bit harder to justify. But I mean, for people who missed out on the Hasbro one, I don't think you could go wrong with getting this one.
Hasbro is going to reuse that mold. There's no doubt about it.
We'll see.
I mean,
they're going to do a color shift or some shit. There's no way that mold is just being one and done.
But it's going to be years. It's not going to be next year. It's not going to be
5-year anniversary.
Yeah.
I was going to say 2021's the upcoming anniversary of the movie. 35? But that's when the actual Hasbro one comes out, isn't it?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, this is a good third party figure, and yeah, they flew too close to the sun when marketing it last year, right during the Hasbro crowdfunding campaign. But now that the heat's off, they can continue on and put it out there.
And Jeremy, I don't know if you can get it any cheaper than it already is or was, but what do you think of this thing?
I still like it. I still really like it with the head off, and they have the little planet mode mouth as a head. I think that's a funny look, and they should have marketed it as this all along, and then just threw in the Unicron head without any pictures of it. They're definitely going for the animation colors, which I like, a little bit brighter. What would be neat with that second button, which I don't know if it'll work because you said the button's on the head.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking in planet mode, how in the movie he lights up.
Yeah,
that would be
rings.
a neat effect to have. But if the button's on the head, you obviously can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
This guy he doesn't have the big ring around him, does it?
Sure, he does.
In planet mode.
Yep.
Oh yeah. See that. Okay. Well, I don't know. I really like this guy. It's still out of my price range, but I am looking forward to seeing all of the hilarious pictures that people are going to post. And I applaud their marketing team for the way they're trying to get around making you even think that you're getting Unicron when you see the box.
Right on. Well, that's all I had for this week. Jeremy, take us into what you got.
I have some pictures of yet to be announced or revealed Hasbro toys. We have some Earthrise figures, Soundwave, which it looks to be Siege Soundwave remolded like we've seen with Megatron and stuff. He looks fine. We have We have a Earthrise Thrust, which he looks like Thrust. Very good. I mean, it reminds me a lot of the classics Thrust, but I think the jets have all been pretty well reviewed. I think this is going to be another good one. And then we have Cyclonus. He reminds me a lot of the Combiner War Cyclonus, but I'm pretty sure this is all new. So before we get into the next big part of this, let's talk about these three. Yoshi, have you gotten any of the Earthrise stuff?
Aside from buying Cliff Jumper for a buddy, no.
Well, what do you think of these three, the Soundwave, the Thrust, and the Cyclonus?
They're not bad. I think Cyclonus looks the coolest.
He also looks the least finished. It looks like he's missing some paint apps.
Yeah. I mean, they're not doing the same shit with this line where everybody looks battle damaged, are they?
Don't know. I haven't actually gotten any Earthrise stuff in here.
Megatron's got something on his legs there.
Is that on his legs, or is that part of the plastic packaging? Because it looks like it goes up past the shins, and you can see it in the background too.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's... I was looking at that too, wondering if that was battle damage or if it was like just part of the plastic shell over him.
I don't know.
I mean, the Thrust looks pretty clean.
The only Earthrise figure I think I've seen out in retail so far that had battle damage on him was Astrotrain.
Right.
The rest of them have looked pretty clean.
I don't need my toys to look pre-played.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, cool. Well, Dr. Pants, what do you think of these three figures?
I am a sucker for a transformer that becomes a jet, so I will be picking up Thrust. I think that looks really awesome. I love the cone heads because I love how they're, similar, but they all have the different wing shape, and they really stand out as a group for me. So I'm really excited to pick those up and hoping, as they probably will, do a Dirge and a Ramjet. Cyclonus, I love Cyclonus's design. I always have, and I've always wanted like a really, really good figure of him. I have the classics version of him from years ago. And while he's pretty cool, this one, that alt mode looks perfect. It looks so good. And the robot mode, while obviously I'm pretty sure it's not transformed all the way, it needs more paint apps, that looks really, really good too. And I can't wait to pick that up. The Soundwave, I have so many Soundwaves. I always buy Soundwave when I find him, and I'll buy this one too, even though it's probably just a retool of the Siege one. The only thing I can say is it doesn't look like his like torso is as thick, so I'm wondering if he's missing that backpack that came with the Siege one. And also because, see, I'm looking at the arms and I'm wondering if they have the stuff underneath them like the other one did for spaceship mode, and I'm wondering what he's going to transform into. If it's going to be a tape deck or if they're just going to finagle it into some other like spaceship mode. But
with it being on Earth, they need to do a tape deck. They need to suck it up and do it.
Yeah, they do. You're absolutely right. I want a tape deck. The other thing I'm also hoping with this is I'm hoping they don't change the chest too much and you can fit all of the old Spy Patrol cassettes in it, because I don't want them to like re-release the Spy Patrols as like quote Earth modes, and I have to buy.
I'm sure it's going to be completely compatible.
Well, that's good. Then all I have to do is just buy another Soundwave, and I think I'm okay with that.
Charles, what are your thoughts? I mean, no emergency vehicles here, but
I agree with Dr. Pants that Cyclonus looks great. That looks very much like the movie design from 1986. So that's really cool. I had the G1 Cyclonus when I was a kid, and I was always kind of disappointed in how like blocky he was and how unrepresentative he was of the animated model from the movie. And this one looks a lot better. In line with the classics version, maybe even better than the classics version. So that's cool. The cone heads, I also agree, is a nice addition. I believe we've already seen Ramjet in packaging art, and maybe Dirge too. So I think that's an indication that we're going to get all three cone heads. And then Soundwave is fine. I passed on Siege Soundwave because his chest plate was all cracked glass because of that battle damage. So, and this one looks clean here, so I might pick this one up. I do have Ravage and Cybertronian Ravage and Laserbeak. I haven't been able to find Ratbat and Frumble anywhere. But it's always cool to have another Soundwave. They look good.
All right, Daryl, your thoughts on these?
I see in the first off to Dr. Pants in the alt mode picture of Cyclonus, you can see Megatron's feet in the bit of the picture there, and they have damage on them.
You are correct.
Yeah. So that kind of sucks. The Megatron, when I saw this picture, I took out and compared it to my Siege Megatron, and there are a bunch of pieces on it that look like they're kind of brought over. So it's very similar to the Optimus Prime in that regards.
I think we'd already seen Megatron.
Did we?
Yeah.
Because I don't recall seeing him, but it's possible.
He's almost exactly the same.
He's very similar, yeah. So anyway, I'm kind of disappointed with him, but on the same token, I'm super excited about Thrust. After being able to get Starscream, thanks DJ Ronan, I'm really happy with the way that the Voyager jets are turning out. They're phenomenal. So any time that they're going to use this new mold, I'm going to probably end up buying it. So yeah, the Thrust looks great, and the Cyclonus is just tight. It looks great. The alt mode is really held together well. I'm a huge fan of that Classics mold, and I did buy that add-on kit to make him into like the IDW Cyclonus. But even with all of that added on stuff and to make him a little bit better, he's still not this tight. Like, this is really, really well done. I agree with you, Jeremy, that the Cyclonus and robot mode is not transformed completely, but still he looks good. He's going to be a popular figure. And I mean, I have the Soundwave, the Cybertronian Soundwave. I mean, having him clean is good. I mean, it's definitely beneficial, but I'm not sure that I'm going to buy a whole new one just to have a clean one. He better transform into something different if it's going to make me buy another whole one.
All right. Well, the next thing in these pictures that I've been avoiding talking about is apparently completely that Hasbro hasn't announced this at all. I'm guessing that the Ectotron was a big success because here we have a new character named Maverick that's a jet with lots of Top Gun logos and stuff on it. So this is another crossover figure. When I first saw this, I thought someone just made up a package and put a jet in it. But apparently this is legit. With a new movie coming out, whenever movies come out again, it's a great tie-in. The Ghostbusters tie-in with the anniversary of both series. Daryl, let's stick with you. What are your thoughts on getting a Top Gun tie-in?
I'm excited. I mean, when this image first came out, I tried to figure out if this was similar to Ectotron in that it was just a mold that we had already, and they just kind of reshelled it similarly to Ectotron. So the only thing that I could kind of come up with is that it's looks like a movie character that they've kind of reshelled because of the way the art looks. Other than that, the alt mode is brand spanking new, like the way Ectotron looks. And that being said, I'm really excited for this thing because when I was a kid, Top Gun was super popular, and I had a G1 Jetfire who was an F-14 Tomcat, and I was running around in the backyard flying my Tomcat around, pretending I was playing Top Gun with my Jetfire. So this is pretty cool for me. So I'm excited about this. But the alt mode, if it does look like that, it looks like a movie design, which I'm not super stoked about, but the alt mode is awesome. And that's what I'm in for.
Did you have a volleyball net in your backyard?
I did.
And a sand pit?
Yeah. You could only play shirtless and oiled up. It was required. It was pretty cool.
I don't know where to go from there. Yoshi, while I get the image out of my head, what do you think of this?
This is a toy I want to like. I'm a big Top Gun fan, too. I didn't have a volleyball net in my backyard. I wasn't that devoted to it. But I did like the movie. I watched the movie. That movie was like what I had on in the background when there was nothing to watch. Again, this thing is kind of suffering from a toy that looks like it's already been played with. Like, doesn't fly with me. And also the fact, I think Daryl's right. I think this pulls from a movie figure. Just so much potential, and it falls flat on me, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, it's something that I think most people are going to keep on their shelves in jet mode anyway. Cause
there's also a bunch of different planes in this movie, this upcoming movie. Like this may just be one of several that are coming out.
Well, Dr. Pants, what do you think of this? Did you have a volleyball court?
No, I didn't. And sadly, I've actually never seen Top Gun. So
Stop the show.
Christ.
I was wondering if I was actually going to admit that to you guys or not, and I sucked it up and I did it, but I'm terrible when it comes to seeing movies, and I have a backlog a mile long. But
I'm so disappointed.
I'm sorry. This is the last time I'm going to be on this show, isn't it? It wasn't even because of a Transformers thing. It was because I never saw Top Gun. But this looks really cool. As I said with the thrust thing, I am a sucker for any Transformer that turns into a jet, and a real world jet like this. It looks so cool, and it does look like it pulls from a movie design. My first thought when I saw like the bot mode on the box was the way the chest works, and I thought he had like an arm cannon coming out, but now I'm not sure if he's holding a gun or not. But I thought it might be movie Blitzwing, because the bot mode kind of reminds me of that, and they might be pulling because isn't there a Studio Series Blitzwing coming out soon?
It's possible, but like you just said, it's not out yet, so I haven't really been able to like look at it. Yeah. And I'm excited about that figure. I think it looks cool, but I haven't really messed with it or really have any experience with it. So it could be, but I really don't know.
Yeah,
it's
but
possible the bones are the same.
Yeah, but even if it pulls from a movie design, I'm not a big movie fan. I have gotten a bunch of the Studio Series figures. Like I'm collecting all of Devastator, and I've got a Blackout and Movie 3 Megatron. I love the transformations in those figures. They do a lot of really, really cool stuff. They are fun to mess with. And, I mean, even though I've never seen Top Gun and I'm not a big fan of the Transformers movie aesthetics, I might pick this up just because it would probably be a really cool figure to mess with.
Are you a big fan of Jag?
Funny enough, I was just talking about that with my wife earlier, and I've never seen Jag.
Do you know what a TV is?
Yeah. I know what a TV is.
Just making sure.
I'm sorry, I'm a disappointment.
No. You haven't seen a lot of shit. Charles has seen a lot of shit, which means you've put effort into your doctorate, Dr. Pants. So I think we need to shift our advice to Dr. Pants from now on. Charles, I love you. I'm sorry. It's just been a long time, and now I get to pick on everybody.
Don't let them shame you, Dr. Pants. I mean, I have seen Dr. Gun. I have seen Top Gun, but I have to say I'm not a fan of Top Gun. I mean, it's fine, but I'm not excited about that movie franchise. I'm not excited about it coming back 30 years later either.
I think we're gonna have a couple openings on the podcast.
With the new one coming out, I recently asked my best friend, like, do I need to see Top Gun? And his response was, no. So you're not alone.
I'm not. This is not the time to go off on a Top Gun rant, but I mean, I think it's fine. I mean, the figure. I mean, I've seen in the chat some people are commenting. The figure reminds me of the robot mode. Looks like Dreadwind, the Power Master guy. I don't know if that means it was based on that mold at all, but that's just what it reminds me of. But I mean, this is probably not something I'm gonna pick up just because I'm not invested in the Top Gun franchise. I mean, it's this would not be in my list of Transformers crossover franchises to do. I do understand though the cross marketing with the movie and everything, since it is coming out or might still be coming out this year. I don't know. I'm much more interested in a DeLorean Transformer, like Daryl suggested. But there's not going to be a new Back to the Future movie coming out. I hope. Please don't reboot that franchise. Mm-hmm. Leave those movies alone.
Some of us will be looking forward to when Hasbro actually announces this figure and we can get better looks at it than these grainy photos. Yoshi, can you save me from this disappointment and tell us what you got this week?
I probably can't, but I'm going to need Daryl's help because it's been a long time since I've done this shit. I saw this blow up on Twitter, Daryl, where Studio Series has some 86 movie figures coming out. And there seems to be a fan base that is seriously having fun with this idea. And then a bunch of millennials who are pissed off about this idea. According to the articles we have here from TFW, we've gotten an 86 Studio Series Gnaw and Grimlock. I could have swore on Twitter I've seen some others mentioned, but maybe you can help me fill in the blank here as to maybe why this is fucking happening.
The long and short of it is that the movie line, as we've discussed for years now, doesn't have enough Transformers in it. So they've been putting guys in it, and they've been remaking characters for a long time. And I mean, they've been doing this for a while, but I mean, they've still got, I mean, they're into the 60s now. They've got like 60 characters produced, and they're going for a little while longer, but you know, the writing's on the wall. They're going to run out of characters. I mean, they've done Optimus Prime 3 or 4 times, I think. They're running out of characters. And these are, I mean, yeah, Optimus Prime gets done every single year in the main line anyway, but this is Studio Series is the movie line. And I've been fine with that. It's been easy for me to skip the majority of it because I'm not really into the movie line, but the consensus is that we're going to have to put, you know, if we want Studio Series to continue, we're going to have to get characters from another movie. Well, there was another movie, a 1986 animated movie. Mm-hmm. And so with the 35th anniversary coming up, like we've discussed, they're throwing around the idea, maybe not even just throwing, there might be happening, that the 1986 movie cast might be making their way into Studio Series. And the people who are much more of fans of the movie line, the live action movie line, are quite upset, and I get it. That's been their toy line, and now us G1ers are taking it over. Yeah, so I get it. And to be perfectly honest, when I saw the pictures that we just talked about with Jeremy and the Cyclonus that they had coming out, I had a feeling that one might be in that Studio Series line. But who knows, really? Like, that could be Earthrise. But if they're throwing around the idea of doing an 86 movie line in Studio Series, well, Cyclonus appeared for the first time in 86 animated movie. So why would they produce them twice in the same year? It doesn't make much sense. So anyway, that's kind of the long and short of what's happening. But yeah.
It definitely caused a stir online that I noticed, and I don't even pay that close attention.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, I took a nice few jabs at Eric Crownover, the guy who likes to call himself the what is it, the leader of the young young rebellion, the movie guru, the Transformers movie guru. So yeah, took a few shots
of the younglings.
Yes. I enjoyed kicking him while he's down. It was fun.
Good for you. I support that kind of behavior. So do you think just let's play the little what if game. If this Cyclonus we saw a picture of a little bit earlier today is a Studio Series figure, can you see enough in there to think that it warrants that prestigious name? I mean, does it have do you think it's got the detail and the sophistication that has come to expect with a Studio Series figure?
Well, sure. I think it possibly does. If you look again at that picture of this Cyclonus, you can see that they've gone for what's really started to happen in the Masterpiece line, and that is they're taking away a lot of the molded detail and going much more for a cartoon look, which is just flat colors and just broad blank canvases, like not a lot of detail at all. They're just making it look like the cartoon, and this Cyclonus, where it's still lacking all the paint apps, but you look at it and you don't see a lot of molded detail in it. And even though that is a whole 180 degrees from where Studio Series is currently, where it is almost entirely molded detail, that's what the 86 movie was. It was a cartoon. You can't do a lot of molded detail in cartoons. So, they're going really far to one side now. They were way into the molded detail for the live action. Now they got to shift gears and go completely the other direction for the animated movie, if this is in fact what's going on. But yeah, I can see that could be it, right? But I think the biggest piece of evidence of it being the case is that if in fact they are doing the 86 movie line in studio series, why would they do a Cyclonus in Earthrise next year, right? That's the big question, right? You don't want them producing two figures in the of the same character in the same year.
So the thing, that's making my brain itch is, why does it have to be even under the studio series name? Like, I'm not giving a shit about the millennials that are upset about this, but like, as a G1 fan, why not call it 86 movie line, or make an 86 movie logo? Just make it a whole separate thing that's just that.
Well, it's been successful, for one. And the weird thing is that there are collectors out there that are, if a series is numbered, like 1 through whatever, they'll collect all the numbered figures. So there are collectors out there collecting Masterpiece figures, Takara Masterpiece figures, and they're all numbered. So even though a figure might come out and they're not super into it, they're going to collect it because it's the next number. So Studio Series is a numbered series, and you keep going in that line, people are going to buy them because it's the next number. And that's the way they collect, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, that's the way they go. So why would they stop that and get rid of those collectors who are obsessive about, having the next figure in the line, and start something brand new where they have an excuse to stop? Studio Series is a great line. They started it with all the movies a number of years ago now, but it's been very successful. So that's why I think they would keep it.
So Jeremy, let's go to you. I can see you, just based off this image here on the website, like I could see you buying Grimlock and keeping Wheelie and giving Grimlock to your son. Is that what's going to happen?
No.
Okay.
I would keep the Studio Series to myself. I'll give him my Combiner Wars Grimlock.
Well, how do you feel about this? Are you excited about this? Do you think this is a good thing? What's your?
I'm really excited with these. It's a Studio Series that I care about collecting.
There you go. That's a fair point.
I've had no interest in any of the live action stuff, but give me new, more screen accurate animated movie characters, and I'm all in. I think that that Cyclonus very likely could be part of this, and I would be happy with that. So yeah, I think we've had so many of these already, like Grimlock, and pretty much every Masterpiece character has probably been in the movie, but we haven't had them that look as good as they could have from the animation side of things. So I'm interested to see what actual pictures we get from this. Yeah, I'm totally on board with this.
Dr. Charles.
I agree. I am looking forward to this. If how real this Studio Series 86 line is and what's going to be included, I would love to see what that is. I think the movie designs really stand out. They were really kind of the first departure from the original Transformers line, since the original toys were reissues of older toy lines, and I think the 86 movie represents the first time that designers were designing Transformers as Transformers and not just taking old toys and repurposing them.
Right.
So I really think it's a good kind of banner year for Transformers, and something that I'd be interested in collecting. And yeah, I'd love to see a Wreck-Gar. I'd love to see a Wheelie. I'd love to see a Galvatron, some Scourge, Cyclonus, Hot Rod, Coupler. All those figures would be great. I mean, I'm curious how wide this would go, also because we do already know that RC is going to be an Earthrise, so I guess that means she wouldn't be in this 86 line if we assume, like Daryl says, that they're not going to release 2 figures in 2 different lines in the same year.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So, yeah, I mean, so I guess we'll see. I mean, and we did just get a Springer last year that I think is very close to the movie design. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm curious what we're going to get.
Dr. Pants, I think I'm excited about a Studio Series 86 movie Autobot City playset.
Yes. 100% yes.
This has to happen.
Absolutely, yes.
We need to bring back the playset.
Yeah, we do. I've got plenty of floor space.
I don't. Still do it.
I mean, there's nothing in the middle of my living room. So what if it blocks the TV a little bit?
Who needs a coffee table?
Exactly. You know what, though? When you were talking about this, and Daryl made every point I was going to, I brought up the picture of Cyclonus, and I've been going back and forth between that and the Thrust. And I was going to make a comment about how little detail there was in the Cyclonus, because the Thrust is covered in surface detail, and the Cyclonus isn't. So I think the Cyclonus is going to be the Studio Series figure. And like I said before, I've picked up some of the, newer movie Studio Series figures. I love what they did with them, and I would love some 86 figures that are, movie accurate, have some great alt modes. I've always wanted like an 86 movie shelf, and I can never seem to find a figure for some of the characters that I really, really like. I've never really had a Hot Rod figure I like that much, or an RC figure that I've really, really liked. I was looking forward to the Earthrise one, but maybe we'll get a Studio Series one. I don't know, but I'm going to buy more toys. That's what this comes down to, and I'm okay with that.
I got one last point I want to make on this, and that's we talked a few weeks ago about Hasbro starting up a production on 2 new Transformers movies. Remember?
Yeah.
We were talking about the next live action one, I believe it was, and the other one was a Beast Wars movie. So both of these movies would end up producing toys, and if the animated movie from 86 is able to bring in the next wave of toys, or is a good way to, I mean, it's not a real easy transition from movie line to animated, but from animated you can definitely go into Beast Wars from Studio Series and keep the Studio Series name going, right? And then by the time you get done 86 animated line Beast Wars movie, which would be current, I assume, you could start new live action movie stuff again, right? So that's just another point I wanted to bring up, is because there's going to be a Beast Wars movie at some point. That this line will be sitting here ready to produce figures for it.
I can't argue with you, because that makes a whole lot of sense. And I fucking hate not arguing with you.
I've gotten more intelligent as you've been away. I've just been reading lots of books, dictionaries, and encyclopedias. I've just been reading them. Yep. Phone books. I've been finding. I leave
you away for 2 months and you've got fucking hover tanks.
Yeah.
Well, unless anybody's got something else, I'm passing it on to you, Mr. Pants.
Well, thank you. So my topic is some third-party stuff. It seems third-party company KFC Toys has shared images of color prototypes of their E.A.V.I. Phase 6B Dumpyard, 6C Castoff, 6D Scraps, 6E Dregs, and 6F Gunker, which are all different versions of Junkions. And they're reissuing 6B, which is Dumpyard, which came out a couple years ago. They're Masterpiece scale. They are around, it says 8 inches or 20 centimeters. All coming with different accessories, interchangeable heads for all kinds of display options. And yeah, these look really, really cool. They did have a Wreck-Gar, but that's not being reissued. That was Crash Hog, I believe. But these all look really, really cool. I've actually seen Crash Hog and Dumpyard. I was at a convention a couple years ago where somebody had them on display, and they look really, really good. we're talking about, the 86 movie and some cool figures, and here's some Masterpiece Junkions for you if you really want to army build and spend $120 per figure for your army, or you just want to get, one that looks really, really cool. But I think these look great. All the different colors, all the different designs, all the different accessories. They look really posable. The alt modes look cool, and they can ride each other, which that's a nice feature. But
hey yo,
let's throw it to Daryl. What do you think, Daryl?
Well, I'm just looking here on TF Source because I was like, oh, I wonder what the 6A was, and you answered it as I was looking. But as I'm sitting here on TF Source looking at this, they have Crash Hog up for pre-order. So,
they are reissuing it.
Yeah, and he's $100. So there you go. The rest of them that you just mentioned are $120. So I think you just mentioned that. But yeah, it's yeah. So they're cool. I mean, this is a crazy team, and I mean, at $120 a shot, you really gotta like Junkions. But to look at them all together, like that's a cool looking squad, man. They all look fantastic, and I just hope that they can come apart and kind of put each other back together. It looks ridiculous, but yeah, I think these are fun, and they're wacky. The Junkions are just wacky guys, and I think they're great.
Cool. Jeremy, what do you think?
I mean, I remember liking the Crash Hog when we talked about it, way back. I think these look a lot of fun. It's just the cost, which, I mean, it's understandable, but I think for someone that's big in the third party, they'll probably love it. And the fact that you can army build, there are people that just love to army build. You can have so much fun with these, making them ride each other like in the movie, and I don't know, it looks a lot of fun. The prices, I mean, especially when you're making so many similar parts, there is an economy of scale where I'm sure they are making a lot more profit on these than they did on the originals.
I'm sure they'll find some market for it. There are people out there who buy the third-party combiners, and they seem to spend just about the same as they would for that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's... I can't understand having that much money, like, just to spend on frivolous things like that.
Like a HasLab Unicron? That's weird.
Well, yeah, but I mean, my family only has one doctorate, and that's not me. I'm not a multi-doctorate household.
I mean, for the price of a HasLab Unicron, you could get all 5 of these Junkions.
Yeah.
So Charles, did you make the right decision and get the Unicron, or should you have gotten the 5 Junkions?
That's tough. These are good looking figures, but I'm happy with my selection of Unicron. But yeah, I mean, these tick all the boxes for Junkions done right. I mean, the modular designs, the variety, and the paint apps, and the head designs, and the weapons and everything, and then the fact that they can all ride each other. Yep, it's everything that you'd want in a Junkion set. So I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't think I would, I'm not as that big a fan of the Junkions, so I can't justify the purchase for these guys, but they look really good. And if you're a big Junkion fan, these are good.
And let's be honest, Unicron kicked their ass in the movie.
Yes, but Grimlock kicked Unicron's ass.
It's true.
Yoshi, what about you?
I really don't like the head sculpts on any of them. And you know what? Fucking KFC, these guys are holding nothing back in their pictures here. They're just like, here it is. Here's everything. We're so confident with these. We're going to show our confidence in our pictures. And that's almost enough for me to overlook the faces. But I don't know why. The faces just don't sit well with me. Neck down, beautiful figures. I think they're awesome. I want to expand on Daryl's idea. I kind of wish these had a crash test dummy gimmick where you crash, they pop apart, you put in whatever legs, arms, fucking chassis you want. I think that'd be great. that would be a hell of a set of figures right there if you could do that kind of shit with them. You guys seem obsessed with them riding each other. It's not my thing. Not too interested in that. No, but they look great. They really do.
Prude.
I'm just not a fan of their faces, I guess.
All right. Well, that's
and transmission.
Well, that's all I've got. So, Charles, what do you have?
All right. Well, first up, just a real quick reveal. We've got a new figure from Earthrise, and it looks like it's going to be a remold of Cliffjumper. It's Hubcap, which you usually don't see. You'd expect a yellow, Cliffjumper style vehicle. You'd expect that to be a Bumblebee, but no, they're going with Hubcap. And it's got a different. It looks like it's just the Earthrise Cliffjumper remolded with a new head. And so I wonder if this means we're going to get also a Bumblebee pretty soon. That will also be with this mold, or maybe not. I mean, maybe they're just skipping Bumblebee altogether and saving him for another line next year. But I find it interesting that they're bringing back Hubcap as one of the one of the characters, and a remold of or a repaint of Cliffjumper, I should say. But my real toy that I wanted to talk about is a Legends scaled Astrotrain from Mech Fans Toys, and this is Iron Sky. It's a G1 Astrotrain, G1 styled Astrotrain, but in black and white colors. So not the traditional purple that you usually see Astrotrain. I think it's a really nicely done figure. It's I think they've already released the traditionally colored Astrotrain, and this one. So this is a repaint. It's pretty short, about 5.5 inches tall, with 12 centimeters. But looks really detailed, and the train, both the train mode and the shuttle mode, look really good, and the robot mode looks really, I'd say, cartoon accurate. So Daryl, what do you think of this Mech Fans Toys Legends class Astrotrain?
I think it looks pretty good. For some reason, I think that this was this color palette was the original, like the Japanese color palette for Astrotrain. But I can't put my finger on it right now. But yeah, I think that's what it was. But I like it. I think it's a cool looking design. As with most Mech Fans Toys stuff, I'm struggling to see if they stole this design from somewhere. But it might just be a kind of a amalgamation of a bunch of different designs. So yeah, but it's a cool looking figure nonetheless. Yeah, it's a neat figure. Astrotrain was always one of those figures that if he's done right, he can be really sleek. So I like the way that he kind of is proportioned here. The space shuttle mode looks great. The train mode looks amazing. Not a lot of misplaced kibble on that, and the robot mode just looks great. So yeah, Legends class Astrotrain being able to be a triple changer is just awesome. Yeah, and even with the and your other topic of the hubcap, I think is cool. My opinion is that I'm wondering if they're going to make Bumblebee into a different styled vehicle, but this is, like you said, is a selects line. So it could just be that you're right and that Bumblebee will be the same design. It's just, maybe a different shade of yellow. But yeah, other than that, it's a couple of really cool figures here. I don't know whether I'll go to the trouble of getting Hubcap. I'm not that dedicated to the Generations line, but the Mech Fans Toys thing is kind of cool. If it ends up being cheap, I might pick it up. But as I've said in previous shows, I really don't like supporting a company that steals designs like this. So, yeah.
All right. Yoshi, what do you think? Did I wake you?
No.
You're also a fan of legend scaled figures. What do you think of this Astrotrain?
Dude, there's a hospital starkness to him, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely the black and white makes. I mean the space shuttle mode should be white and the locomotive mode should be black. So
yeah, Here's the thing they're hiding from us, and I'm staring at this picture forever, and it took me a minute to see it, but I feel like the pictures were photoshopied enough to invoke a purple that's not there. But also, like in bot mode, the back of him is completely black. It's like white in the front, black in the back. And they're hiding. Unlike, KFC, the previous Junkions, where they showed you everything with utter confidence. Like, these guys are hiding some stuff. And I don't know if it's because of what Daryl's saying, where they stole ideas and designs, or they're just not confident with their figure. But that's something to take into account. I do like the, in the separate modes, though, taken for what they are, I do like that hospital cleanliness feel of him, which I just like that. I like that minimalist. I don't need much to show you I'm a badass.
Jeremy, what do you think of this guy?
I like the look. It reminds me a lot of the classics Astrotrain. Also, I believe mostly white and I think black. But I like it. I never really liked the purple shuttle. I like the shuttle being white like actual shuttles were. And then with this one, the train being black like a lot of steam locomotives were. I think they pulled that off really well. The robot mode looks fine. Looks like he's missing, all the paint apps pretty much. But I mean, if Daryl's right and they did like steel designs, not a good look, but the third party's steel designs from official anyway. I mean, they have no shame. So, I don't know.
Well, they steal ideas.
Oh,
they don't necessarily steal designs. I don't know if that's a distinction.
I mean, but I don't know. They steal, but regardless, it's not likely going to be something I may get. But I can appreciate that this thing does look very nice. Like Yoshi said, the kind of starkness. It's a very nice look.
All right, Dr. Pants. We'll finish up with you.
I like it. I'm a sucker for triple changers, and I really, really like Astrotrain, and this figure looks really, really good. I like the shuttle mode, particularly the fact that, unlike the most recent one, we got the Earthrise one, where the middle of the shuttle was kind of just his body hanging out there and felt real gappy. This feels a little bit more filled in, a little bit more complete. I also appreciate the fact that the shuttle looks like a space shuttle because it's white with black accents. The train looks really, really good. The whole thing looks nice, and it's really surprising for a legend scale to look like it pulls everything off really, really well. If I saw it around and just wanted to throw some money at it, I'd probably pick it up.
All right. Well, we got a note in the chat from one of our friends of the show from the Autobot Decepticon.
Autopod Decepticast.
Autopod Decepticast, yes. That this particular design is not stolen, but Mech Fans Toys is known for stealing designs, as Daryl said, but this one is not. So this is an original design from Mech Fans Toys.
Cool. Well, then I'm going to steal it.
All right, so that's all our toy topics for this week. So let's move on to trips to the store. And this is where we show off all the amazing Transformers stuff we got this week. We do this as a video so you can see everything in beautiful high definition on our YouTube channel. But we'll put the audio right here in the podcast so you can keep listening and listen to us describe everything we have in loving detail. So without further ado, trips to the store.
The Transmissions podcast will return after these messages.
So let's talk about all the stuff we got this week, and we'll start off with Jeremy.
All right. This kind of goes into what you were just saying. I helped out the show by buying some masks from TeePublic. So
nice.
These, hold on, I'm going to take off my headphones so I can put this on.
Fucking prima donna.
Dingus. Dweeb.
See, you can't tell I'm not really Optimus Prime in this. No, but anyway.
Hate to break it to you, buddy.
Yeah, I know. So anyway,
these sound pretty good even with the mask on. So
yeah.
Social distancing works.
Yeah. So these are great. They have two kinds. These are the higher end ones, they have the pocket where you can put like a filter on the inside if you want to have that extra protection. They feel really
You can put your weed in there.
whatever. They feel really, really good, really thick. It's like kind of it. They're definitely not N95 level mask, but they are not cheap feeling at all. So I got the Optimus Prime one that we created, where if you wanted to have a face place looking mask, and then I got the Good Guy, which the folds in here kind of mess up the look, but I think by wearing it, it'll turn out well, and I do like the way that the printing turned out. And then I also had to get the bad guy too. My wife has claimed this one. She says that, she wants to be the bad guy. So.
Jeremy?
Yeah.
Not to give you work, but could you do the Optimus Prime one with the Derek Yaniger style where it's got the bullet in the faceplate?
Ooh. I think we can figure out a way to do that. That'd be cool. So anyway, that's what I got this week. I think they're still kind of off and on in terms of being able to order them from TeePublic. They're managing their production capability right now. But if you see it's available and you want to give them a try, these are really good. I like them. So that's what I got.
Nice. All right, Yoshi, you're up.
So I've got a comic book that comes with a little story. Transformers Regeneration 1 issue 81 had a blank variant. And the story I've always heard is that there were only 50 made. They gave them all to Dan Hanna, who drew on all of them and never the same robot twice. So I find it, I'm fucking stoked that I pulled off an Optimus Prime find.
Nice.
These nice. Covers are fucking terrible. This particular run, these were glossier than shit. So this drawing doesn't have jack for detail as a result, but there's only 50 of these and supposedly only one Optimus Prime. So that's to me is a huge fucking win.
Cool. So, that's my item. The Regeneration 1 blanks that you have a bunch of.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
I could have brought them all for comparison, but I didn't. Sorry.
That's really cool.
I think if you search Google for Regeneration 1 blank, you'll have a lot of pictures of you holding up.
Yeah. Yeah. So the guy I bought this from says he found it in a comic book store in just the long box of Transformers comics, which is interesting because part of the story I've heard is that I've heard two versions. Dan either drew on them and mailed them out to the comic book shops that sold the most copies of Regeneration 1 or pre-ordered the most copies. And the other story I have heard actually from him is that he took them to conventions and sold them at conventions. So I don't know. Somebody will throw up another Optimus Prime and I don't know shit at that point.
Well, did you ask Dan if he only drew one Optimus Prime?
I haven't followed up with him. I'm going to. Mm-hmm. We're like this.
All right. Well, I'll go next. I finally got back to my comic book store. Thankfully, they are still open now after, the months of inactivity. And I had a bunch of stuff in my pull list from back in March. Picked them up. The Kill Lock number 4, Livio Ramondelli. Really enjoying that.
Greatest book no one's fucking reading.
I saw it's getting a trade in October.
Well, if you're not reading, you should check it out. Transformers 19. This was the last one published before the lockdown from the main series. Then Transformers Galaxies number 6, the last Transformers Galaxies issue, the Cliff Jumper ones done by Alex Milne, and Transformers versus the Terminator #1, also by Alex Milne. So very cool. These are all good, but no toys for me, but just comics. So glad I got them. All right, Daryl, you're up. What do you got?
Well, I don't have any comics, but I did manage to get a new toy, and I don't do a lot of shopping on Amazon. It's definitely not as popular here in Canada as it is in the US, but I've been struggling to find a figure, and I went on Amazon, and sure enough, Hasbro has their Amazon store, and they had the one I was looking for. So it was retail price, and it had free shipping. So I was pretty stoked to find it. Scrapper, the 7th of 8 Devastator components, and I picked him up for retail, like I said, and he's here. He's cool, I guess. He's getting really good reviews, so I'm not opening up all the guys up until I get all 8 of them, and then I'll form Devastator. But yeah, he's here. He looks awesome, and he is the 60th of the Studio Series. Yes, Yoshi, you have a question?
I'm just looking. I'm looking at your vault of figures behind you. Where do you keep your unopened ones that you're waiting to open?
They are scattered about. I have a box down here on the ground.
Yeah.
Of all the Studio Series figures that I own, and they are all unopened, actually. So not only just the Devastator ones, but I have the Mercedes-Benz Soundwave. I have number 38 Optimus Prime, which is apparently a really cool figure. Never opened it. I got a number of them. Yeah. So, yeah.
I remember when you said you weren't buying any more movie figures.
I know. Yeah. You remember that?
You're a liar.
Yeah. Then they made a Devastator.
Yeah. That's
I'm sure you're just waiting for the third-party add-on kit that adds the balls.
Yeah. If they don't make it, I'll just make my own.
That's what she said? Never mind. All right. Finally, Dr. Pants. What do you have?
Well, first off, I wanted to show off my Transmissions podcast shirt that I picked up. Arrived just in time yesterday for the podcast today. So, yeah, I'm very excited to have that. Love that design. But what I actually have to show off, so my wife, Mrs. Dr. Pants, ventured out to a Walmart not too long ago, and we have an understanding that if she goes to a Walmart or a Target or anywhere, she has to go to the toy aisle and FaceTime me and show me what's on the shelves. And I haven't been out much since everything started, but every time I've gone out, everything's been bare. Well, this one time she showed up, and they must have restocked at just minutes before she got there. So she picked me up a bunch of things, including Earthrise, Cliff Jumper, who I love this little guy. He's fantastic. Earthrise Ironworks. I'm trying to get all the Micromasters and stuff, so having little bases is awesome. And I love
Ironworks is amazing.
Like the fact that you can turn into a base and just a really, really nice, pretty kibble-free robot. That's awesome. And I wasn't sure if I should get it or not because I got the Siege one, but she was nice enough to make the decision for me. So she picked me up Earthrise Starscream.
Nice.
And it's such a good figure. I'm so glad she picked this up. I love this guy. So I'm thrilled to pick up the other ones when they come out, especially the Coneheads. But yeah, no, she is the best. And I am thankful that she is willing to FaceTime me and put up with this every time she goes to a Target or Walmart. So, but that's what I got.
Well, does your wife have any sisters?
You need to reciprocate.
She does not have any sisters. I'm sorry.
Yoshi, you're already married.
Oh.
All right. right. Yeah, Dr. Pants, reciprocate. That's that's my advice for you.
I will. Don't worry. He's not called Dr. Pants because it's funny.
No. Just you have to FaceTime her too.
Zing, bazinga.
I'm not hearing a no from either of those.
All right, I think we'll end it here.
All we need is deep throating on this episode, and we're good. Perfect.
All right, yeah. Good way to end this trips to the store.
We now return to the Transmissions podcast.
All right, we're back from our trips to the store, and we will finish up the show with feedback.
Thanks, Charles. And you too can leave us feedback by heading over to transmissionspodcast.com/feedback. There you can find us on Friendster and leave us a message. But today we've got a voicemail from John 4X11 Good. You want to roll that, Jeremy?
Yep.
Thanks.
Hi guys, John 4X11 Good here again. With everything that's been going on lately in the U.S. and the world, I just wanted to thank you guys for such a wonderful podcast and to continue putting out such quality content and allowing us to forget about the problems of the world. I appreciate you guys bringing on guest hosts to help fill the void that whenever Yoshi is not able to be in. And I'm also thankful to start seeing that Yoshi is able to start making a presence as a voice on the podcast again, albeit not the way he probably wants to, but at least we're able to hear what his thoughts and opinions are on some things again. So, again, I thank you guys for everything you do, and continue putting out such a great podcast. Again, appreciate it all. Thanks. Bye.
Well, that was very kind of you, John, and we really appreciate that. It's always nice to hear a good word. And I feel like 90% of that, 95% of that, I feel like 99.9% of that is to you guys, so I really shouldn't be saying anything. This is, you guys are running a ship and keeping me entertained, too, for what that's worth, because I'm listening to the show.
I'm wondering how he timed it, knowing that you would be back this week.
I'm sure he called and paid him off.
Yeah.
I don't do anything on this show if it doesn't involve money. We all know that by now. But thank you very much, John. Honestly, that really means a lot to all of us. It's nice to hear these good words. And that's it for feedback this week, guys. If anybody wants to leave us some feedback, head on over to transmissionspodcast.com/feedback. There you can leave a voicemail. I think next week we should just get voicemails for Dr. Pants that he won't be here to answer, because that would be funny.
Sure. That's a challenge to the listener.
From the boss, guys.
Ask all those burning questions.
We'll just save them for 4 weeks. It'll take 4 weeks. You'll be back. And then you can answer them then.
Just let them pile up.
All right, well, that will do it for this episode of Transmissions. Again, we want to thank everyone for listening. And, of course, Dr. Pants, thanks for coming back. Remind everyone where they can find you on the internet when you're not on Transmissions.
Thank you, Charles, and thanks again for having me, guys. I am on YouTube with a bunch of my fellow nerds on Nerdstrodamus, where we do all kinds of nerdy things. We have a podcast for Nerdstrodamus that comes out once a month. Our newest episode should actually be out by the time this hits. And you can follow us on all the social media. We're Nerdstrodamus there. I tend to post on Instagram a lot. And I am also on Twitter at drpants1412 if you want to follow just me on there. But yeah, check us out. Enjoy.
Cool.
Dope.
And Yoshi, is this an indication that we'll see a little bit more of you maybe in the coming weeks?
I don't know how to answer this. I mean, if everything was going 100% perfect, Charles, I would be back to every other week again. Mm-hmm. You know, with the virus being what it is and my wife having the career that she has, life is extremely stressful for her. And so my role as a husband and a father is to stay the fuck out of her way. and that does entail missing shows and phoning it in, and it breaks my heart because when I listen to the shows, I hear all the jokes I can't make. It sucks. It really sucks. So let's hope that this fucking thing goes away and we get a vaccine and life can return to normal and haircuts won't seem scary.
All right, maybe you could MST3K an episode and record yourself.
Dude, that
doing
would be funny.
Yeah.
How would we do that? Well, let's talk about that offline.
Yeah. It's doable. Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this week. And thanks for listening. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Later.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions Podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
All right. Ooh.
Mike's going to be mad at you.
2 hours. Eesh. Okay.
If he just edits me out, you're back to a normal hour show.
Pull Dr. Pants over.
Yeah.
Don't pull on his pants, please.
Just talk, Yoshi. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm good at. Everything else is... We're fucked. So let's just put it that way.
Yeah, Yoshi, you probably didn't realize DJ Ronan finally won Toy Hacks last time.
It's about time you guys let him win instead of keeping him in a separate Excel document. What?
Now we can form Voltron. We have 5 people.
Sweet.
Hold on, I'm going to take off my headphones so I can put this on.
Fucking prima donna.
What a dingus. Dweeb.
See, you can't tell I'm not really Optimus Prime in this. No, but
Hate to
anyway,
break it to you, buddy.
yeah, I know.
I haven't done this in a long time.
Yeah, you haven't done it in so long. You forgot to wait for the transition music.
I totally did.
Mike.
Go ahead, Yoshi. It's too late now.